you can bring it out. All right, you can bring it out. When we talk about spiritual things, um, dealing with spiritual matters, a lot of it's built upon the faith or the lack thereof. Okay, or the lack thereof. All right, we're going to Hebrews chapter 11. Hebrews chapter 11, and we're going to start at verse 1. Let's just get verse 1. We don't do 1 and 2. Let's just get verse 1. Hebrews 11 and verse 1.
I bet I have to grab some water.
All right, you got some reading to do today.
Absolutely. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
All right, I love when they give definitions. Okay, so we don't have to guess, assume, or anything like that. Faith is, when you see that is, it's telling you faith equals substance of things hoped for. Okay, substance of things hoped for, and is the evidence of things not seen. All right. So when you see it, it's no longer faith. It's there. All right. You obtain it, you see it. Okay. But faith is dealing with things hoped for, things to come, right? That you've not experienced or witnessed or touched, whatever it is, and things, the evidence of things not seen. Right. So Brother Paul is building the foundation, giving us the definition of what faith is about. Okay. Now he's just going to give us a lot of examples of it. All right, verse 2. Or anybody had anything they wanted to talk about in verse 1, dealing with faith? Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Verse 2.
For by it the elders obtained a good report.
Okay. So we're going to see, he's going to give us examples of elders that have obtained a good report. Some people look at it as the well, no, I'm not even jump to that. All right. For by the elders obtained a good report. So how do we get a good report? It's through faith. And if you want to specify this, because this can go with the examples he's going to give us, because they will all be our elders, right? These are our forefathers and foremothers that they're about to go through. But also remember when they had to get that report, right? They had to go to that land and, only Joshua and Caleb, right, came back with a report. Why was their report different? It's not from what they seen. It was because of their faith. Your faith can, two people can see the same thing, beloved, but your faith can make two different reports. And this is what we got to understand about it. People can look at this world and people looking at it with the lack of faith and doubt and look and say, Satan is in control. And you can see all the devilish things around and thinking, you know what? Look at the absence of God in this place. All right. Somebody else can look and see it totally different. All right. Not that their eyes are seeing something different, but their faith. Right. So when we're looking at it, even in our lives, right, we're trying to press, okay, to walk a faithful life. This goes against our nature, our flesh. I want you to understand it. It's a fight because our flesh always goes against it because our flesh relies on the things of the flesh. What's one of the main things? Our eyes. Our eyes tell, okay, this is real. This is not real. Faith goes against the nature of our eyes. Okay? However, we'll get to some more of those examples as we move forward. Okay? Let's get verse 3. Verse 3.
Through faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of Yah, so that the things which are seen were not made of things which do appear.
Very important. All right. Faith, we understand. All right. Through the word of God, we have faith. Because guess what, beloved? Were we there? Did we see what was happening in Genesis and everything? No. But we have faith. It's the evidence of things not seen. We didn't see it, but we have faith. Okay. We have faith that through the word of God, this is how things came about. Right? The let there be light, moon appear, water stay here, oceans come here, rivers make, that's all through, right? The faith. We understand how that it was framed. The word of God framed it all. It's not no Big Bang Theory and all this stuff that you're hearing. Okay. They need to create those things so they won't what? They don't have to deal with the faith. Because they can only understand what they see and they witness. So now they got to put their manly twist on it, okay, to make understand to them. But we know, all right, to the believers, we know that the word of God made these things happen. The things which are seen were not made of things which do appear, going directly against it. The things we've seen, he said, let it be, and that's how it came. Difference between creating and making, beloved. We make things from things that were created. The Most High can have nothing and make something. We don't do that. We're taking things from the Most High, these elements and things and concoctions, right? And we put it together and we make something. We are makers. The Most High, right? The Son, they're creators. They don't need a substance. They can just do it out of nothing. Okay. So the things that we're seeing were not made of things which do appear. Anybody got anything before we keep going? Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
By faith, Abel offered unto Yah a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous, Yah testifying of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaketh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We should know the story of Abel. Okay. But why was Abel's offering more excellent, beloved? It's a big debate about that, right? It's saying Abel's faith made it more excellent. What was the faith? What was the manifestation of his faith? His offering. Okay? Because he had faith in God and what God told him to do, he gave the best. His faith was according to the commandment of God. Because Enoch didn't have the same faith to give God the best, his was rejected. Okay? Some people say the animal that we have examples through the law that we had offerings given with fruits and stuff, and the vegetation, also stuff with animals. Okay? That problem is Abel had faith in God. And we need to hear this, beloved, because we need to, some of us are trying to understand why can't we be like that? Why are we this way? Because we lack faith. Okay? By which he obtained witness that he was righteous. Okay, God accepted his offering. It's the righteousness being accepted. God testifying of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaketh. Okay, Christ, I believe, referenced Abel's blood, all right, still crying out. So we're not going to go to a blood lesson today, all right? But remember, life is in the blood, all right? Twofold. He said, even though you kill somebody, that blood still has life in it of itself. So they'll use that as a reference to like basically it still can be able to talk and cry out and stuff like that. Okay. So when he spilt that righteous blood, that blood was crying out. Okay. Anybody got anything before we keep going? Let's keep going.
By faith, Slakia, verse 5, by faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death. It was not found.
Mhm.
Because Yah had translated him, for before his translation, he had his testimony that he pleased Yah.
That's the thing. That's the one we want to get to. All right. He did not see death. I'm not going into the aspects of how people interpret it, right? But he was what? Translated. So I refer to it as a translation. All right. For before his translation, he had this testimony. This is the important part that he pleased God. Okay. That's the faith to know that you're pleasing God. Do we know that we're pleasing God or do we have doubt? We're not sure. It's a thing to be confident in what you're doing. Being confident on what God told you to do and you're doing it to the best of your ability to be confident that, you know what, I'm pleasing God. We should be able to self-evaluate and see where you stand. right? If you don't believe you please God, you probably have some reason why you're having that doubt. And then we try to do your best to fix it. But we should be having that on our testimony. It shouldn't be a deathbed. You still wonder, am I doing enough? Did I do enough? No. We want to do what we know to do now. So we have confidence. If we have to get out of here tomorrow, we can say, we please God. We did what he told us to do. Okay? I know people get sensitive about death and stuff like that, beloved, but that's supposed to be the beginning for us. That's the beginning. We have to do that to get that, that new body. All right? Even when it comes to death, death is not always a bad thing. Sometimes it's a blessing in death. All right? Matter of fact, let me uh, is it Isaiah 57? I don't think it's Psalms. I always think Psalms, but I think it's Isaiah 57. Let's try that. Let's try that.
What you looking for, beloved?
People don't put it to mind that when the righteous die or something.
Yeah, I'll find it for you.
I think it's Isaiah 57. I know it's Psalm 57 in verse 1. So
Okay.
I think Isaiah is Psalms. Yeah, this is it. Isaiah 57, beloved. Isaiah 57. All right. And let's look at verse 1. All right. Because it all talks about the, precious in the sight of God is the death of the saints. We know this world got so much about death because even death and resurrection, that's a faith. Everybody talk about they want to meet God, all that stuff. You got to go through that. Right? You got to go through that death. All right. So we need to make sure we're not, I know, like I said, we know the absence and that can be sorrowful and things of that nature, beloved. But there's also reasons why it's necessary. All right. The obvious reason, but also it could be a blessing. Let's read verse 1.
The righteous perisheth, and no man layeth it to heart. And merciful men are taken away, none considering that the righteous is taken away from the evil to come.
Some people don't think about that. The righteous perish, and it says what? No man lay it to heart. No man even thinks about it. The righteous perish. What's the reason? What's the purpose? Is it good? Is it like we don't think about it? Merciful men are taken away, none considering that the righteous is taken away from the evil to come. So there's sometimes you look like, man, I'm glad such and such died so they didn't have to witness this. Sometimes you might think like, oh my God, it was kind of good that they didn't have to witness this. All right. Glad they have to go through this ache of this, seeing this happen, all these kind of things. Sometimes the Most High takes them away from it so they don't have to witness some of those things. Maybe even killings and death and stuff like some people, right? People he wiped off. Instead of getting tortured and killed, he'll do certain things like that. So sometimes death can be a mercy. Okay. All right. I just wanted to show that one. Let's go back. But we hope the Most High prolongs this if it's His will, beloved. If it's His will, we all young here. We want the Most High to, keep us and preserve us.
That went right along with that Enoch one. So
Yeah, so remember, because God, if you do put it together, when Enoch dropped, remember, stuff started getting bad in this world. Right. So it was good that, God was merciful, took him out. So, a righteous man, you can vex a righteous man's soul. Right. That's what happened to a lot. A righteous man, they don't want to see certain stuff. Some of our forefathers, they'd be glad they didn't have to witness some of the foolishness and wickedness that we witnessing and seeing today. See, sometimes we'll do things to our own detriment because we get, emotional and fleshly. Oh, we want to stay forever. Some of them like, nah, I'm glad I got out of here. I don't want to see that nonsense. All right. Nonetheless, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Verse 6. Verse 6.
Come on. But without faith, it is impossible to please him. He that cometh to Yah must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him.
Without faith, it's impossible to please him. Don't talk about nothing else. If you don't have faith, you cannot please him. It's simple, beloved. Got to have faith. You got to build up that spiritual man within you to please him. No matter what kind of sacrifice, whatever you're trying to do, it won't happen if you don't have faith. All our commandments is built off of faith. The Sabbath right now, You can only enter into the true Sabbath, keeping it holy. I'm not talking about you just coming together. I'm talking about keeping it holy. You have to have faith to enter into the Sabbath. There's a lot of people that gather to the Sabbath, but a lot of people don't enter into it. A lot of people read on the Sabbath, but they're not in it. It requires faith. Offerings, things we give to the Most High, it requires faith. Everything we do is built upon faith. I know sometimes Christianity can make it a whole spiritual thing and spooky and this and that and faith, and you don't have to do anything. But understanding, beloved, there is portions of it that is true. No, it is about faith. Sometimes they just misinformed a little bit about how that looks and how to carry it out. But it is about faith. For he that cometh to God, you come to God, you must believe that he is. Let's say if somebody, I don't want to do that, Bob. I can't do nothing for you. They got to believe. I'm not saying they're gonna have full faith like somebody been in this walk doing it for years, but you have to have some kind of faith. It is dealing with things that sometimes can't be quantified in words. We're dealing with things that you can't always see. So you're going to have some faith, but faith in what? His word. But the more you start to read it and understand it, you start to realize some of this stuff ain't even faith no more. We see things being prophesied, fulfilled. After what? Man, this thing is factual now. This ain't no, I'm hoping that. Some of these things are factual. If we believe. So those that come to God must first believe that what? He is. What is he? Is he the one that controls everything on this earth? The good, the bad, the ugly. Is he the one that gives all beings life? Is he the one that suffers the sun to come up and down every day? Give the moon that dominion over the night. You must believe he is all these things. When I'm going through trials and tribulation, God is. When I'm getting blessed, God is. When things ain't going my way, God is. That has to not change, beloved. Your condition, what you see, does not change what he is. But when you start now doubting and contemplating God and what the fullness of what he is, that's the what? Lack of faith, the doubt that's coming in. But no matter what you go through, faith ain't based upon your condition, what you're seeing, what you're doing. All right? You got to know he is, and then that what? That he is a rewarder. One of the things you got to know is he is a rewarder of them that what? Diligently seek him. Not periodically seek him. Not conditionally seek him. When I want something, I'll seek him. When I want something, I'll fast and pray. Diligently. When things are good, I'm diligently seeking them. When things are bad, I'm diligently seeking them. When I'm happy, diligently seeking them. When I'm sad, when I'm frustrated, when I'm overwhelmed, when I'm bored, we have to learn to diligently seek him. Just like Daniel was doing. So much that he was looking at him like, we know he's going to go and serve his God and pray to his God a couple times. It don't matter what it is. He's like clockwork. Are we diligently seeking the Most High like clockwork? Or it's only when we want something, that's when we're going to seek him. That's when we're going to take the dust off the Bible now, seek him. Now we're going to blow off the, if you still using CDs or whatever, right? Now you want to listen to gospel music, right? We don't want to be crisis. They say crisis Christians in the world, right? Only when it's a crisis, we're going to deal with it. We're going to seek him. Okay. So, beloved, remember that he's a rewarder. And I love that he used that part. You need to know that he's a rewarder. Because why people give up is because they don't feel that they're going to get rewarded or God is seeing these things and witnessing these things. Okay? God said he's witnessing everything we're doing. But our faith, Satan trying to get our faith. Look at you doing all that and God ain't doing nothing. Look, you supposed to be getting rewarded, but look at the heathen over there. They getting the jobs you want. They getting the promotion you want. They getting this and this, right? And look at you suffering. Keeping the Sabbath. God ain't there. God ain't helping you. What is Satan trying to do? He's trying to get you away from what? Pleasing God. And the way he got to take away that faith. What is opposition to faith? Doubt. Everything he does, he try to get you to doubt. Because when you start to doubt God, you are not going to what? Seek him diligently. But we must know that he's a rewarder. You coming in today, beloved, on this Sabbath day gathering, you could be doing whatever you want. You come and doing this, keeping this Sabbath holy, he's going to reward you for this. You not stealing, killing, right? Taking advantage of people, all those kind of things. He is seeing that and he's going to reward you accordingly. You have to know this. When we talk about faith, ain't just a wish thing, a hope. No, you got to know this thing. All right? Anybody got anything from 1 through 6 before we keep going? That was going to be my big spill. All right, that's my big spill. All right, so read that verse 6 again, Brother Kai, and then go to 7.
Without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Yah must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him.
All right, so we diligently seeking him. All right, not just seeking him, diligent. Read.
By faith Noah, being warned of Yah of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world, and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith.
Faith, Noah. This is all through faith, being warned of God, things, all right, things not seen as yet. So we don't think about this part of Noah. Noah, it's one thing if you see it, right? God give you a little glimpse of something, right? But Noah didn't know about this whole ring thing. It never happened, right? Just like someone was talking about God coming back, and it never happened, right? To us, so it's like this is pure faith. So with Noah, he's looking at the thing being warned of God, move with what? Fear. And what did he do? Prepared an ark to the saving of his house. You know how crazy that will look, beloved? This is crazy as it is to look at everybody else worshiping tomorrow and not today. As crazy as you see people saying they believe and they're eating things and doing things that we're not doing. It's crazy. That's what Noah was dealing with. But he was by himself, him and his family. How much of us are going to stand on this thing? Whether everything else is going the opposite way. That's faith. That's faith being tested. And guess what? We have no excuse because we see these stories. Okay? Let's go to Genesis chapter 6. Real quick, let's go to Genesis chapter 6. And I am not doing this with every every verse and everything. All right, beloved? Because some of the stuff is just going to be straightforward. Okay? All right. Let's start with verse 11. Okay? Genesis 6, and we're going to start at verse 11.
The earth also was corrupt before Yah, and the earth was filled with violence.
And it's going to be like that. He says when he come back. Read.
And Yah looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh hath corrupted his way upon the earth.
And all flesh, they corrupted what? Their own way. All right. Read.
And Yah said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me. The earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth.
So the earth is filled with violence. How is the earth filled with violence? Through them. We the one that's filling the earth with violence. All right. We the one polluting things and doing all these things. Let's up. We're not going to read all that. He's just getting what he had to do. Okay. We're skipping all that for now. All right. Jump down to verse 22. Oh, the screen out the way.
Thus did Noah according to all that Yah commanded him. So did he.
Can you see it? Did what God commanded him. That's faith. Okay. They didn't question, well, Lord, I don't know what rain is. I don't know what this is. Well, I never seen this. You're going to kill it. Said it, he did it. And you'll see that same pattern with the righteous men and everything. God say it, they get on it. Okay. All right, let's go back to Hebrews chapter 11. Let's go back to Hebrews chapter 11.
John, I just want to add something, beloved.
Mhm.
See, the faith, caused him to listen to God, right?
Mhm.
But see how Christianity see it, if you just all you gotta do is believe God. However, the work calls him to build the ark. You understand? It calls him to move. So if you don't do the works along with the faith, it's irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Hebrews 4 and 2 real quick.
Absolutely. Doing this one.
And see, a lot of people think that faith just came in the New Testament, but that's not true. We see with our forefathers, they was lacking faith. That's what caused them not to enter into the promised land. Okay.
Mhm.
It says, for unto us was the gospel preached, unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. They also had the good news preached to them. Our forefathers had Christ preached unto them. But the
Mhm.
word preached did not profit them, because they was giving the Most High a hard time. They wanted to go back into Egypt and all type of things he was instructing them to do, because of fear. I mean, because they was still in bondage in their mind. They did not believe the Most High. Why? Being mixed with faith in them that heard it. So they didn't mix, the works with the faith. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have that faith. So that's what caused them not to enter into the promised land, because it wasn't mixed with faith. They did some works, but they did not believe God when times got hard for them. When the
Yep.
road got rough, coming up out of Egypt, and they had to go through the wilderness, this and that and the third, they did not believe him. Their faith started to lack. That doubt crept in, and at the end of the day, they saw all the works of the Most High. They saw the plagues, that was upon Egypt, but yet and still, when times got troublesome, they did not believe him, and they actually wanted to go back. What's point us a leader so we can go back into bondage, the same people that oppressed them. Okay. So at the end of the day, yeah, it's faith, but you got to have works. You got to do what the Most High say. And with that, I yield, beloved.
Great point. Great point. And as we probably familiar with the passage in James, right? Faith without works is what? Dead, being alone.
Uh,
Everybody want to throw this faith word out there, but faith is an action. Okay? Faith is an action. So I can tell your faith by what you're doing. Okay? I don't gotta, do you believe the commandments? No, I'm just gonna see what you're doing. And if I see you doing things again, oh, okay, you believe that. But people want you to say, they want you to believe what they're saying and let their actions do another work. Okay, that's not how it goes. The Most High always showed us, so you will be able to examine your own faith. That's why I say you can examine. This is why Enoch can say, I please God and don't have to waver because I see what was commanded me and I'm doing it. My works is proving my faith. Beloved, our works need to prove our faith. We shouldn't have to say all these kind of things we're doing and this how no, our works. They should just look at our works, look what we're doing, and it should show and reflect the same thing that's written in this book.
and
Great
what did
passage,
James and what did James say? I show you my faith by my
my
works.
works.
Yeah, come.
They don't want to touch that. All right. Listen to what I'm saying. Don't look at what I'm doing. Just listen to what I'm saying. That's a dangerous recipe. That's a hypocrisy recipe, beloved.
Okay,
Okay.
come.
Stay away from that. All right. Anybody else got anything before we keep going? All right. Um, And through this, beloved, it says, by the which he condemned the world. So this is how we condemn the world. We don't have to say, you're going to hell. No, 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 beloved. Through your actions and showing your obedience to the will of God, you're condemning them that have not did the things that they were commanded of God to do. All right. So that's how he condemned it with his actions. And became, listen what he became the heir of righteousness, which is by faith. All right. It's just that you always talk about faithful Abraham, but he was the heir of this righteousness. Okay, because of faith. And this is the same thing we have to do to be heirs of righteousness. It's by faith. Most High was showing us all from the beginning. All the unbelievers with their actions, they got taken out. And Noah's seed started to what? That remnant. All right, coming from that faith and heir of faith. And that's where you just walk that seed down through the generations. Okay, and it led you all the way to Christ. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
verse 8, I believe, yeah, verse 8, right?
Come.
Okay. By faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive an inheritance, obeyed and went out, not knowing whither he went.
That's strong. All
Obeyed.
right. All right. So Abraham, okay, called to go into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance. He obeyed. He didn't know the fullness of it. He know where to go. He just listened and went out. Okay. And faith sounds like foolishness, beloved, when you look at it. All right. This is why they say religion is like it's like a fool's thing. Because it's not built on per se what people think logic and rationale and facts. Okay. Even though that is in our faith. But with this one, he went out. Okay. Not knowing where he went, but he knew that God will take care of him. That's the faith. We don't know exactly how things are going to play out, but we know if we stay to the course, we know the reward that comes from this, beloved. That's the faith. Right? So keep that in mind as we're doing this walk. Know what you're doing it for. That's the motivation. Why are you doing the Sabbath? Why are you keeping these commands? Why are you reading all these things? It's for a reason. Because we know that God is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. We know it. Okay? So these forefathers are doing the same thing. He's not asking something of us that he didn't ask of them. They had to display their faith. They had to manifest their faith through their actions. The same thing with us. This is why Brother Paul is walking this thing down. Okay. Anybody else got anything they want to add? All right, let's keep going.
By faith, he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which had foundations, whose builder and maker is Yah.
All right, it's getting a little deeper. You gotta understand it. All right. So by faith, we know he went to the land of promise. All right, and he was a stranger there. All right, he was still dwelling in tabernacle and tents with his sons Isaac and Jacob. All right, who will be the heirs of with him of the same promise. Okay. Now, verse 10, because it's not a period, still continuing. For he looked, why was there? This is the faith part. He looked for a city which have foundations. All right, whose builder and maker is God. Okay, I want you to understand this ain't no natural thing. See, he's looking for something. He's looking for a city, okay, whose builder and maker is of God, not a man, beloved, of God. So we see Abraham had a faith. It wasn't just, oh, he come here today. He had a faith about something. God must have shown him something or told him something. And this is what he was building, even, his faith being built upon this promise. All right, let's look at a couple spots, but I'm not going to do all that. Let's go to 2 Corinthians real quick. 2 Corinthians chapter 5. Okay. 2 Corinthians chapter 5. Then God is going to make it. And it's going to reiterate it, I think, in a couple verses as well. But let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 5. 2 Corinthians chapter 5. What is he looking for? And we're going to just read verse 1. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 1.
Now he that have wrought us for the self same thing is Yah.
Hold on. You had 2 Corinthians or first?
2 Corinthians 5. Let me see.
And verse 1. Verse 1.
Oh, Salakia. For we know that if our earthly house of this tabernacle were dissolved, we have a building of Yah, an house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens.
So we know we have a building made of God, eternal in the heavens. It's not made with hands. It's not made with man, but God has built it. So this, I think I have something for that later. So I'll save that one. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 12. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 12. So because some people think, oh, the forefathers, they only knew about certain stuff right there. No. The prophets and stuff, nah, they had some had some foresight with some of this stuff. Okay. All right. This is Hebrews 12, and let's just go to verse 22. Hebrews 12 and verse 22. See this place.
For ye are come unto Mount Zion, and unto the city of the living Yah, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to an innumerable company of angels.
See what he's referring to this as? But ye are coming to Mount Zion. What is Mount Zion? The city of the living God. That's why he brought us here. All right. This is part of inheritance. It's the what? Not the earthly Jerusalem. He's talking about a heavenly Jerusalem. And what does this encompass with? Innumerable company of angels. Okay. This is part of the thing that's set up for us, beloved. All right. Let's go back to Hebrews. And there's a couple other spots, but like I said, we'll keep it on the surface. Okay. Because it says he looked for a city which had foundations, whose builder and makers of God. So he wasn't looking at some natural man-made thing. He was looking at something of God. Right? Verse 11.
So verse 11.
Yeah, so Hebrews 11 and verse 11, beloved. Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 11.
Through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed, and was delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised.
You know, let's not throw, it wasn't just the men that was being faithful and had showed faith. All right. We got Mother Sarah. Okay. She received strength to conceive seed, all right, because she was past that age of, childbearing. But what? Somebody said, oh, well, she just got blessed. No, no, no. Because she judged him faithful who had promised. She did do a little laugh. It does say that, all right? But she had faith nonetheless. And faith sounds very silly and very unbelievable, beloved. It can. You mean to tell me if you do this, this will happen? You mean to tell me God will judge you on what you, right? It can sound very silly. Okay? But that's the thing about faith. It sounds silly to those that only can see with these natural eyes, only can feel the things with their hands. But we are greater. The Most High has created us greater. All right? And we have to build ourselves out the shackle of the flesh. Because God we're dealing with is of the spirit. And Brother Kai mentioned something earlier this week talking about what? The Most High, right? He's looking for what? The true worshipers. That's going to worship him through what? Spirit and truth. We can't stay with this carnal mind and really truly worship the Most High. That's why I'm saying with the commandments. If you just look at it as a natural thing, you're missing the boat.
Mm-hmm.
You got to keep the Sabbath in spirit and truth. You got to keep thou shalt not kill in spirit and truth. Thou shalt not. You have to keep these things in spirit and truth. This ain't a robotic thing. This thing got to be a part of you. No longer is going to be on the outside with these works and bringing the animals and killing us. These things have to be in the inside. That's what this new covenant is bringing this thing within us. Okay? So he is looking for true worshipers. True worshipers have faith, beloved. All right? They have to be filled with faith. Let's keep going.
Verse 12. Therefore sprang there even of one, and him as good as dead, so many as the stars of the sky in multitude, and as the sand which is by the seashore innumerable.
All right? So we know it came from them, what? The nation, all right? The nation is Israel's gonna be like the stars of the sky and as the sand of the sea, and which is only analogy to say you can't count them, all right? Nobody knows every grain of the sand of the sea, and nobody knows the number of the stars. You just know it's a lot and they're everywhere, okay? So that's how, like with Israel, it's a lot of us and we everywhere. Okay. I don't know if y'all remember that old movie, The Baby Kids, but they said, we don't die, we multiply. Right. And that's what Israel does. They multiply. And that's a blessing, beloved. That's a manifestation of the faith that he had that now, right? His seed lingers on. They thought it was done. They thought they're extinct. They just extinct, right? Come to Abraham and said, hey, we passed our age. We don't got no children. It's over. But look how God has blessed them. Right? With so many children, designed to have nothing else. That's it. No children at all. Offspring done. Lineage done. God was able to bring a barren thing and make it so now you can't even count them all. That's how good our God is. That's the rewarder. All right? Because Abraham diligently seeked him and believed God. Look how God turned this thing around. Right? Brother Floyd, what you got?
Okay, it's such a, I mean, we know this is a familiar scripture, but it's such a beautiful one. And we think about Sarah's position. She didn't have faith in her husband. She wasn't having faith in her body. She had faith in him. She found him faithful who promised this. So it
Mhm.
wasn't about her body. It wasn't about her own strength. It wasn't about the might of her husband or the faithfulness of her husband, but she knew the one who promised it was faithful. And it's funny because I don't even think we understand the contrary to this is our lack of faith. We have faith in so many things. We have faith in so many things, including our job, the unjust judge, all these different things. So we know if we show up, we're going to get paid. We know if we don't show up, we won't. But yet we'll have this inconsistency with God to think that we could show up sometimes and get a full check. We could partially be righteous. We could sometimes be righteous. We could sometimes be faithful. We could sometimes pray. We could Christ as Christian. We could do all these different things, but want the full totality of the reward. But we know that if we don't show up to work all week, we don't get a half a check. We just know it, right?
Mhm.
So we think that they're more faithful than the Most High God. That we don't understand the contrary of these faithful people is that if we keep being inconsistent, and we keep falling short, and we keep sometimes doing this, that our reward is just the same. So we want to just trust this like we trust everything else. Like we take care of our cars and take care of our houses and take care of our clothes or take care of our jobs, all these things that we put in front of him, that we should just be so faithful to him because we have an expected end if we just stay faithful. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go there, but it's just such a powerful one for me. So, Salaki.
Perfect, perfect. That's what this thing's about, beloved. We got faith. We just don't got it in God a lot of times, right? Everybody laid in their bed. Nobody checked the bed to see if the bed was going to hold them there, right? You just flop that bed knowing it's going to support you. You sat in your chair, you didn't test the chair, you just sat in it. That's the kind of faith God wants with us. All right. Put our kid, we just turned it, we just expected that it's going to right start up. Let's have this faith when it comes to God and the things He tells us to do. Okay? So we all capable of it. We all have an amount of faith. Now you can grow your faith. That's what these things are for. There's tools that can grow your faith. That's what the praying, the fasting is a great tool to grow your faith as well. Okay. So if you are lacking it or you have some doubt, the Most High already put in His Word the remedy of how to what increase it or purge out the things that are not faithful. All right. The things that are preventing us. Okay. But there are levels to this faith. Okay, we all have a capacity of it being here. You all got a capacity of it, but then there's levels that we can get to that Christ has inspired and motivate us to get to. Right? All right. Where we at? Where we at?
Verse 13.
All right.
These all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth.
God.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. They all died in the faith. They did not all receive the promise, beloved. Some of us seeing certain things that was they seen afar off and wish they could view and take, but they didn't receive it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And was persuaded of them and embraced them and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. They already knew this wasn't the final destination, the things they were going through, and right, they knew it was something more to come, but they were still faithful in their walk. They still walked, believing and knowing, not believing, knowing that the promises of God was going to come about. Okay, but a lot of them died in faith. Okay, even some of us, some things we want to die in faith. Let's keep going.
For they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country.
Listen to this. For they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country. So some people are seeking a country. But read.
But truly, if they had been mindful of that country from whence they came out, they might have had opportunity to have returned.
Going. The 16.
But now they desire a better country, that is, an heavenly. Wherefore Yah is not ashamed to be called their God, for he hath prepared for them a city.
See the transition? Some of them declaring and wanting a country, but they're what? There's something greater. Now the desire is something greater than some regular country or the land and everything. They want what? Something that's heavenly. Wherefore God is not ashamed to be called their God. That's references to that covenant. For he hath prepared for them a city. All right, once again, we read some parts with it. He prepared for them a city. It's not the thing made by hand. This is of God. All right, let's go to a verse. We're just going to go to one spot. Matthew 25. Let's go to Matthew 25. Matthew 25. And let's start at not start there. Let's get verse 34. Just going to get right to the point. Verse 34. Matthew 25 and 34. Sorry.
Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world.
From where?
Foundation of the world.
This was from the beginning. He was talking about this. This thing was prepared from the beginning. Remember, he said, I got a place prepared for you. I must go there. This thing was been prepared. Christ ain't going up there now in heaven. Now he's building these, this thing. No, beloved. This thing was already set. Before it says in the beginning, God created, it was already set, beloved. Okay? So the king, if you understand that's Christ, the king shall say unto them on his right hand, Come ye blessed of my Father. This ain't for everybody. The one that's blessed of the Father. Inherit the kingdom prepared for you. This is what they was working for. Not to be king on earth. That's small thing. This is what Isaac and Jacob and all of them was doing these things. They were looking at this kingdom that was prepared. For instance, what? The foundation of the world. This ain't an earthly one. This is a heavenly kingdom that they're seeking for and seeking after, and the reward they're going to receive from having faith. This is why they can go through the suffering, because they know something is greater. Let's go back to Hebrews 11. Okay, let's go back to Hebrews 11. So read that verse 16 again.
But now they desire a better country, that is, an heavenly. Therefore, Yah is not afraid or not ashamed to be called their God, for he had prepared for them a city.
And this is why I talk about that heaven, Jerusalem and stuff coming down, and now I'll be your God and all that stuff. This is what Brother Paul's mentioning. Okay? That heavenly one. Right? Don't get caught up on land trying to fight for land. That's not the point. The heavenly one, the one that the Father has prepared. That's the one we desire to be in. That's what we're having faith for, and understanding he's a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. That's the reward, beloved. Okay? So your sacrifices, your pain, all right? All the ostracizing we've been going through, the persecution, the ridicule, all right? It's one moment in his presence in the kingdom. It'll all be worth it, beloved. It will all be worth it. You can't even imagine. Just a moment. Okay? All these years, all this thing, we thinking a lot of suffering, it'd just be worth it in that moment. Okay? All right. Verse 17. Okay. I don't got precepts, so y'all got something, bring it out. Like I said, I'm not walking through every single thing. Let's listen to it. 17, let's start doing, let's do 2 verses.
By faith, Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac. And he that had received the promises offered up his only begotten son, of whom it was said that in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
Next one.
Accounting that Yah was able to raise him up even from the dead, from whence also he received him in a figure.
You see this, beloved? Sometimes we don't see. All right. So we had Abraham, when he was tried, offered him Isaac. All right. And they received the promises. Okay. His only begotten son. But listen what he said, that in Isaac, of whom it was said, in Isaac shall thy seed be called. Okay. So what was the faith in that? Okay. People don't realize the faith that he showed in ready to offer up Isaac, beloved. Okay. The faith told him that what? In Isaac shall thy seed be called. So if you believe in Isaac, God promised you, Isaac shall thy seed be called. Then if I do kill him, what's the result? What has to happen then, beloved, for it to come about? What does the faith tell him?
He has to raise him up.
Got to raise him up. People think he just killed him. That's it. No, he believed that if he died, God is able to raise him up again. That's why he's going to kill him. See, we don't have, and but Michael had that thing. Moses take my son and kill him. It's like, Lord, I love you, I trust you, but this is bring him back to life. Like you want me to kill him? Wait, and you that requires some faith, don't it? And it's Isaac, it's the promised one. Loved him. Easy with your enemy or something like that. Well, it don't come back as it is what it is. But something you love, something you care about, you adore with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Say, man, yeah, take that away. Kill him. Okay? He had faith that God cannot lie, that God said in him, he knew that he didn't say nothing else. He know it was direct. Isaac is where your seed going to be called. So what? Like, if I do kill him, he's just going to rise again. And I don't take away from the story, beloved. That's strong faith in the resurrection. And as strong as this, we seen it, was that, we talked about that last week. I don't know if it was last night, a couple weeks ago. Remember we talked about they were struggling, some of them during that time about the resurrection and with Christ. So we see that faith was there, but even when we got around Christ time, people struggled with that resurrection aspect. But he believed in the resurrection. Okay? He was ready to take his son's life because he knew God is faithful. And that's the same thing with us, beloved. We have all these things because we don't believe in God's word. God said, you do this, right? Come with your children, all this stuff. We're like, man, if you do that, that's going to discourage them. They ain't going to like you no more. They're going to do that, right? We put all these things there, but because what? We don't believe or trust in God. And this thing hits home. Well, I got to do this one. I got to break God's commandment, but it's for a good reason. I think God, I believe in God, even though I broke his commandment, I believe that he's going to bless me. That could be a lack of faith, beloved, right? But this is the difference between us and some of our forefathers and foremothers. Okay? And it's not to hurt us, beloved, but to inspire us to get to this level. All right? Even with the story here, and you're like, oof, kill my son? Ugh, believe in it, but do we believe in the resurrection, even in our life? You see a lot of people believe, and then when they ready to fade and death is at the door, now they question, now they shook, and I don't know, I don't want to die, please hope. Some of them now don't believe in the faith. They don't believe in what that word was saying. It's good to believe in it when it's over there, right? There's certain things I used to believe with other people. I believe what I'm reading for other people, but I don't believe it when it comes home to me. I believe God bless you. Sometimes we'll believe it over there, but when it comes knocking on our door, sometimes we'll lack that faith. Okay, and all that's just showing us is we just need to build up our faith. That's it. Just keep building up our faith. All right, let's keep going then. Let's keep going.
By faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come.
So he blessed Jacob and Esau. Yes, they both got it, right?
Both, yeah.
Verse 21.
By faith, Jacob, when he was a dying, blessed both the sons of Joseph and worshiped, leaning upon the top of his staff.
Mm-hmm.
By faith, Joseph, when he died, made mention of the departing of the children of Israel and gave commandment concerning his bones.
All right, and I believe that was in was the last chapter of Genesis. It was somewhere in the bottom verse. Let me just read it for you. All right, so this is Genesis 50 and verse 24. Genesis 50 and verse 24. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I die, and God will surely visit you and bring you out of this land unto the land which he sware to Abraham, Isaac, and to Jacob. And Joseph took on an oath of the children of Israel, saying, God will surely visit you, and ye shall carry up my bones from hence. Okay, so I said we should have known if we believe that we weren't going to stay in Egypt. Okay, it was never intended for us to stay in Egypt. So Joseph in his deathbed saying, listen, I know we here. Remember, they were living good at this point because Joseph was running. So he had no thought about them now going to go into sleep. But he said, what? I know the plan that God has for us. We're not staying here. I know, look, you're not staying here. God has promised us something greater. Take my bones with you. Okay? So when they left out of Egypt, they took Joseph's bones with them. See, he had faith. Even his death, he said, I might not see it, but I know it's going to happen because my God promised it to. Same thing with us today, beloved. Something might not see, but I know God promised to us, so it got to come to pass. Whether I see things, view things my own eyes or not, I know it got to come to pass because God has said it. That's the faith we got to have, beloved. All right? Let's go back to Hebrews 11. Hebrews 11. Read that verse 22 again.
By faith, Joseph, when he died, made mention of the departing of the children of Israel and gave commandment concerning his bones.
Mm-hmm.
By faith, Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents because that he saw he was a proper child, and they were not afraid of the king's commandment.
So that's faith, beloved, because they know you can get killed for that. And you try to hide it and hide a baby. Y'all understand how hard it is to hide a baby, right? They constantly crying or doing something, but they have faith, okay? And their faith superseded their fear of the king's commandment. That's what faith does, beloved. That fear, a lot of that fear and doubt coming with what? Lack of faith. Okay, but they believe God. And the more you believe God, you start to what? Lose that fear, what man may say or think of you. Let's keep going.
By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of Yah than to enjoy the pleasure of sin for a
People don't hear
season.
that. People ain't hear what Moses did.
Mm-hmm.
All y'all think he went out there, God talked to him and he just let him out. No, 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 no. Look at his dedication. He refused to be called the what? Son of Pharaoh's daughter.
That's right.
That's a great honor. Pharaoh's daughter, right? Basically the princess. It's a great honor to be labeled like that. Definitely when you a slave. You're the bottom of the low. Think about now, beloved. But you want to be close to the governor. I want to be close to. I want to go to. You want to be something high in this thing. Most like, nah. I won't be my people because I know what my people are about. I know their worth. Whether the Egypt realize it or not, I know their worth. I don't want to be your child because I'm a child of God. I'm the chosen people. Okay? This is why God chose him. He was showing that faith back then as a what? In that servitude state. Okay, it was the Moses that we think about doing all these miracles. He was there saying, nah, I don't want to be that. I want to be them. Okay, I want to be what God has chosen me to be. Choosing rather, listen, and what this isn't, choosing rather to suffer the affliction with God, with the people of God. Are we rather to suffer with the people of God, or we want to just be to ourselves, making sure we benefit and we're good, right? And we got that selfish nature. As long as I'm good, it's all good. I don't care how other people, that's on them. As long as I'm good, I'm all right. You got a Gentile thinking. We supposed to worry about our brothers and sisters. Okay? He said it's better to suffer with them than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. Okay? So this is Moses' mindset. We don't get all details sometimes, but this is Moses' mindset. I'd rather suffer than enjoy the pleasure of sin. And all the stuff that's coming with being the son of Pharaoh's daughter. I don't want to enjoy this abominable stuff. I'd rather suffer with my people. This is why he's a leader. Okay? This is why God, he already had a heart of a leader. Okay? So I tell you, leadership, all that stuff is faith-based. Okay? Faith-based. But listen to this, verse 26, listen.
Esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward.
What the heck is Christ doing there? This is Moses' time. Esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures in Egypt. He understands the rewards that come with Christ greater than what he could receive in Egypt. In Egypt, we all know about Egypt. Egypt is what they be talking about in history. They were loaded. They were a powerful civilization. They were top in the world. So he gave up a lot. Okay? But he knew the rewards of Christ is greater. For he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. All right? Verse 27.
By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible.
All right. What made him flee to faith? Okay. Left that and he endured. Why did he endure? Why could he suffer so much? Why can he go through this life that's hard, it seems? Okay. Could have a nice little laid back life on the shores of Egypt, sitting back and being taken care of. But he chose to endure the suffering. As what? As seeing him who is invisible. That's the faith, beloved. I can go through what I'm going through because I'm looking and I'm seeing him who's invisible. Who's the one's invisible? God. He's the invisible God is referred to. This is how we got to get through it. You got to put your mind in a heavenly state. I can go through this because I know who I'm dealing with. Go back to verse 6, Brother Kai. Read that again.
But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Yah must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him.
You gotta believe his reward. So when you can endure when you know there's a reward. All of us don't love our jobs. Some of us might even despise our jobs, right? But you're doing it because you know what? There's a reward. There's a reward. You have faith. You have no doubt that you're getting paid. Okay, you know you're getting paid. That's why you're doing it. You'll take the suffering and enduring because you know the reward that's going to come from it. If you didn't think you was getting paid, you'd probably walk off the job. All right? But this is the same thing with God. And Moses was showing this faith. Remember, he didn't do no miracles yet or anything, but he's showing his faith, showing his dedication. And he had the invisible God in his mind, and that's why he was able to endure. And this is how we're going to be able to endure if we have the invisible God in our mind every step of the way. Okay? While we're doing everything we're doing, these Sabbath, these feast days, whatever it is, having visible God in our mind. Okay, we'll make it. Let's keep going. Verse 28.
Through faith, he kept the Passover, the sprinkling of blood, lest he that destroyed the firstborn should touch them.
That was faith. They never seen that. All the firstborn getting wiped out. Nobody's seen that. They had faith to put that blood over, because that seemed real stupid. If I told y'all to put some blood over y'all door, I ain't put no blood over there. Right? That seems crazy. But they had faith in God. That was just the manifestation of their faith, putting the blood on there. That the blood will cover them. All right? So they showed faith the same way we showed faith by the blood of Christ, and that's going to cover us. It's the same thing, beloved. Okay? You just that compare and contrast. So every believer had to have faith, and that's all he's showing us. Verse 29.
By faith they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, which the Egyptians essaying to do were drowned.
You gotta have faith when that water goes up. Okay. Good they had Brother Mike. Brother Mike would have probably threw some doubt in people. Like, I probably ain't going first in there, right? I want to be, but you seeing that water shoot up or, being blocked, you got some people got probably in their mind, like, man, this thing can fall through. I don't know. Right. But faith granted them, right, the confidence to walk through because they believed God was holding this thing back. All right. Let's keep going.
By faith, the walls of Jericho fell down after they were compassed about 7 days.
They had to walk around it. They had to believe God that God would make a way. Right. So nothing happened. Those first 6 times they were going around that wall, nothing happened. Right. Not even a crumb fell off that wall. All right. But when they completed the task, showing the fullness of faith, that's when that thing came down. Some of us are taking that travel, we're doing that, we're going around, but we got to endure so God can do what he's going to do. Let's keep going.
By faith, the harlot Rahab perished not with them that believed not, when she
Mhm.
had received the spies with peace.
Okay. I ain't go through every story, but we know Rahab the harlot, how she hit the spies, and those counted for righteousness, and that spared her. Okay, let's keep going.
And what shall I say more? For the time would fail me to tell of Gideon, of Barak, and Samson, and of Jephthah, of David also, and Samuel, and of the prophets, who
Mm-hmm.
through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions,
Mm-hmm.
quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of weakness were made strong, waxed violent in fight, turned to flight the enemies of the aliens.
Armies of the others. All right. So, beloved, we looking at this. He's saying, I don't have enough time to break to go into all this, but he's basically saying I can walk you down through all the forefathers and foremothers and how faith, okay, how faith is the thing that brought them through, right? Because they had faith in God, it's how they came through. So this is examples. He's saying I can keep going forever. All right, let's keep going. Verse 35.
Women received their dead raised to life again, and
Mhm.
others were tortured, not accepting deliverance, that they might obtain a better resurrection.
So this is very powerful, beloved. We don't forget about the women. All right. So remember when we got one example, remember the child dies, right? Bring that child back to life again. Okay. Some of them were tortured. Sometimes we think it's just the men that's going through stuff and dying all that stuff. No, we had some righteous women right by our side, suffering right along with us. Tell you one of the biggest things with Job, everybody goes, oh my God, Job's suffering, going through all this. And you got the one quote of, the wife saying, curse God and die, right? And we get that. That wasn't right to say, but sometimes we ignoring the pain. Do y'all realize she lost her children? Everybody think like this is Job's children. No, she lost all her children. She lost everything right with Job. And then she's seeing her husband hurt that way. Once again, not right, but empathize. She went through it as well. Okay, so we had a lot of righteous women. We always want to give that honor and respect to our righteous women. All right, because they are the most beautiful, the most kind. They're all those things. Okay, so they were suffering right along with us. We was getting persecuted, they're getting persecuted right along with us. So we want to make sure we give them that honor. So I'm glad that he mentioned them, just in case people thought it was just the men doing it. No, the women were going through these same things. But what did they have? They had faith. This is that last part, that they might obtain a better resurrection. They went through this, they went through the persecution just like men did. What? So they had a better resurrection. They had in their mind this reward. They wanted a greater reward. All right. There's a reward of being a coward and not standing on God, and there's a reward of having faith and standing on God. Okay. Sometimes, sisters, even if you're in the relationship with backing your man, having those things, it's a reward in that. Okay. So we want to make sure we're working together. We go on the same team, beloved. All right. One family. We want to work together because we all trying to obtain that what? That better resurrection. Verse 36.
And others had trial of cruel mockings and scourgings, yea, moreover, of bonds and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawn asunder, were tempted, were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in deserts and in mountains and in dens, in caves of the earth.
Keep going.
All and these all, having obtained a good report through faith, received not the promise.
All this, all right? They got a good report, all right? Their faith was checked off. They have faith. However, none of them received the promise. All right, they doing this and did not receive the promise. So a lot of them still died in faith. And these some powerful figures, beloved, that we have, our forefathers and foremothers, but they didn't obtain the promise. Verse 40, last verse, beloved.
God had been provided some better thing for us,
Hmm?
that they without us should not be made perfect.
God has provided a better thing for us. All right. And one of the things, beloved, that some of them were seeing and looking forward to, the forefathers, well, those on Christ's time, they was able to witness. Because some of our forefathers seen Christ, vision form and all those kind of things, the promises, but they didn't, receive that promise. But there's still certain things, beloved, that we are looking forward to as well. Okay. And we are going to die in that faith as well. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Anybody had anything they wanted to add? I forgot to ask that as we kind of flew past the last couple verses. Good, we're good, we're good. All right. Those watching online through YouTube, we like to say Shabbat Shalom. All right. Happy Sabbath, peaceful Sabbath, and Ayana Habathum, which means we love you all to our online family.